So you've made it through law school. Now the bar exam is right around the corner. You want to know what you need to do to prepare for the bar exam. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down your bar exam checklist, the things you need to do to get in order before the bar exam, before beginning prep. And if you follow this checklist, you will be well equipped to passing the bar exam. You're going to be well ahead of the curve. You're going to be on the right path to getting the job done and a step closer to becoming an attorney. Let's jump right into it. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more of these videos. Be sure to check us out at barcastaudio.com for bar exam courses, audio outlines, essay attack sheets, tutoring, anything you could need to pass the bar exam. We have it over there for you at barcastaudio.com. So let's begin our bar exam checklist. Now, before you get started, your step one here is going to be get your life in order and set expectations. What do I mean when I say get your life in order? Very simply, there is going to be a lot of demand for your time once bar exam starts. So go to the doctor. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you are going to have a steady housing situation throughout the bar exam process. I've had too many students who kind of have terrible situations where maybe they are no longer in a good housing situation midway through the study process and they have to move out. Don't be that student. Don't be moving out. Set up your housing ahead of time. Make sure that you prepare yourself. Make sure you have a reliable computer for the bar exam. You don't want something that's going to crap out right before the bar exam. Set yourself up for those couple weeks. Get your life in order so that you don't have an extra element of friction on top of the already exceedingly friction-filled process of studying for the bar exam. So do your best to kind of get your finances in order, figure out how you're going to sustain this, your whatever lifestyle you may have. Are you going to be able to work part-time, maybe a little bit in the beginning of bar prep and fade out as you get closer to the exam? Are you going to take out a loan? Whatever you may need to do. Can you stay with friends? Can you stay with family to study? Figure that out ahead of time because you don't want to be scrambling to get that figured out midway through the bar exam process. Now, I also mentioned to set expectations. Make sure that your loved ones, your family members, your dog, they know that you're going to be your time is going to be completely consumed by this bar exam process. Let them know your study schedule, what it's going to be, how you can be expected to be in the library from 9 to 5 at least for the most part. Let them know that you won't be as available throughout the day by phone call. Maybe you're going to be shutting your phone off, which I recommend for the most part, throughout the day so you're not constantly distracted. And just ask for some support, ask for some patience from people because this is kind of demanding time not only on yourself but on your loved ones, on your family. You're not going to be as readily available as you maybe were within law school or prior to law school. So set expectations, get your life in order, and you're well on your way to step one of our bar exam prep list. Next up, create a study schedule. Now, I say this with a caveat. Most bar exam prep courses, the big box courses, Barcast Audio, Barbary, Themis, everyone, they give you a study course or a study schedule that kind of gives you everything you need to know. But when I say create a study schedule, what I'm really meaning is make sure that you block out your day. So maybe you say, I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to be there from 8:30 to 6 every single day. That's great. That's a good step one. It's the first step we want to do. But on top of that, I want you to actually block out how you're going to break out your day. And what that means is, okay, I'm going to shut off my phone from 9 to 12. And then maybe I'll turn it on, I'll eat lunch, and then I'll come back from 1 to 4, and then I'll take another break around 4 o'clock, and then I'll go till 6. That's the kind of study blocking that I'm talking about. I think that's critical to really making concerted efforts, making strides in your study process, is setting up these study blocks early and often and making sure that you block out your time. On top of that, make sure you set realistic goals. Don't just say, I'm going to be there for 12 hours a day every single day. That's not a successful strategy for passing the bar exam. Some people may need that extra time, but for the most part, if you're doing that from the jump, you're going to burn out as we get closer to the exam, and you're going to simply flame out too early. You want to be peaking as you get closer to exam day. If you run a marathon, if you've never thought about running a marathon, then like me, I've never thought about doing it, but I understand that the bar exam process is a lot closer to running a marathon than anything else, because you don't want to run a marathon close to, like a practice marathon, close to actually running on a marathon day. What you want to do is kind of peak at the right time. You want to train yourself to really reach your physical peak as you're getting closer to the exam day or the marathon day. So keep that in mind. Don't burn yourself out. Set realistic goals, and don't forget to take care of yourself. That brings us to our third step, our third sort of tip on our checklist: build breaks into your process. And what do I mean by build breaks into your process? Understand that you cannot study constantly. You cannot be a study robot. You need to be able to take breaks, to look at your phone, to read, to play video games after you've put in a full day's work of studying, to go out for a drink, to go out with friends. You can do those things if you are making the most of your study time, especially early on in the process. Now, as we get closer to exam day, I don't recommend you going out every weekend, every night of the week. But I do think early on in the process, you certainly have that opportunity to study solidly for the full day if you are making the most of your time and still be a regular, normal human being in the off hours. It's going to be like a regular job. You kind of clock out when you head home. Because if you are overstudying at that point, once again, you will find that you will burn out as you get closer to exam day. Make sure you are exercising to the best of your ability. Don't just sit in front of a desk. Exercise has a lot of physical and mental benefits, but I really do recommend that you do something, even if it's just walking around the library, walking outside the school, walking around the grounds of the school, walking to lunch, whatever it may be. Make sure you're taking care of your physical health as well. Are you somebody who does meditation? Are you somebody who does yoga? Make sure you're thinking about these breaks, how you're going to manage the stress levels of this process. Exercise, yoga, meditation, that kind of stuff can be really, really helpful with handling the stresses of this process. Step 4 is make sure you're doing practice problems. Everyone wants to treat bar exam prep like a get-rich-quick scheme. They don't want to put the work in. Everybody wants to pass the bar exam. They don't want to actually do practice questions because practice questions suck. They're a lot of work and they're kind of hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But unfortunately, you have to do it if you want to pass the exam. And when I say do practice questions, I don't just mean get adaptive bar and blindly do practice questions. I mean, you have to actively go through your practice questions, write out your wrong answers for the multiple choice. So you're actually making the most of your wrong answers and you're starting to fill the gaps in your knowledge. And I also mean doing timed essay exams. Nobody wants to do that, but you have to do it. I'm sorry. You have to experience the stress of doing a timed exam. There's no getting around it. It's just an inevitability of the bar exam process. So make sure that you are taking time to actually do practice problems, because too often students kind of neglect that and then they get to the end and they fail and they're coming back to me years later, months later, and they're like, I failed. I can't believe it. I don't know what happened. I didn't do any practice essays. I'm like, I know what happened. You didn't do any practice essays. So keep that in mind as you're going through this process. Next up, our step 5, make sure you have a solid study space. This is kind of touched on in some of my other checklist tips here, but make sure that you're in a place where you're free from distraction, where you have all of your materials sort of within your reach, whether it's a desk at home where you're in a quiet space or it's a library desk. Make sure you're in an area where you're not going to be constantly distracted, where it's clean, where it's quiet, where you're going to be comfortable to actually study, to take in all the information, to focus and lock in. You don't want to be studying outside in a loud area. I mean, certainly you can take a break and do part of that there, but you need a concentrated work area. I know when I studied, I split my time between the law school library and my home office, my desk in my house at the time. Keep in mind that you need to set up a study space as you're going through this process. Now, our final checklist tip here is to set up a kind of post-exam reward for yourself. Build to something. Understand that you're going to get something. There has to be a carrot at the end of the stick because it's just simply a terrible process. I know, and being a lawyer is not a good enough of a carrot, I'm sorry to tell you. Maybe you have a video game that's coming out closer to exam day. Save that for after the exam. Say, I'm not going to play this game until I'm done with the exam. I've actually earned it, whatever. Maybe there's a movie you really want to see. Plan a time to see it on the other side. Maybe you're going on an incredible post-bar exam trip. That's awesome. That's a great reward, but have some type of reward. If you can't go on a trip, if you can't do a movie, go to dinner, do something, have something to look forward to, because this is a very stressful process. It is a very physically and psychologically demanding process. So do whatever you can to set yourself up for success and to allow yourself to have a carrot at the end of the stick, because again, it's a tough stick throughout this process. That does it for our bar exam checklist. I hope this is helpful to you. Go through these tips, go through this checklist. And if you do sort of check off all these boxes, you're on the right path to passing the exam. You're one step closer to becoming a lawyer. You're one step closer to passing your bar exam. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more of these videos. Be sure to check us out at barcastaudio.com. Until later, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye now.